Let's see if this works. I'm working on a giant seam for a king-size quilt. And I am looking at different areas of the seams. Like this one, looks like there was a little bit of fraying on this. So I'm going to just check and make sure the fray part is equal with the background on the other side. And I've got my seams butted and pinned on this side so they stay together. I'm going to come up slow, lift this, again go slow. Now I'm sure that I've got that other seam allowance tacked down. Just keep going. And I'm always watching to make sure that my seam is lined up. I can always go underneath and pull it out a little bit to make it tighter. And this one I have to pull it back over. Again, I'm coming to the seam junction. On this one, you can see my seam allowances on the top, and that's good because this will push a little bit against the one underneath and butt those actually a little bit tighter. So again, I'm just going to come up, make sure I catch the seam allowance there, and you can see that right now there's a lot of extra room here. So I'm going to rearrange my quilt. I'm going to grab the underneath and give it a little bit of a pull. Make sure that's even, and then I'll keep going. You can see a little bit of a pucker there, so I'll raise that presser foot. Okay. This is a king size on the last seam, so there's a lot of stretching and pulling from the weight of the rest of the quilt. I'm going to continually pull this, make sure it's not catching on the corner of my table. You'll be able to tell a little bit if the pulling is happening and the weight is too much because your stitches will become really short. It'll be hard for the feed dogs to move it. Focus out just a little bit. You can see again, I've got to rearrange this. One thing to note is I'm not pushing this through or pulling it through. I'm letting the feed dogs do the work. In the background you hear the zombie movie I'm watching. It's called Return of the Living Dead, Necropolis. Kind of stupid, but I like noise when I sew. Nice thing about zombie movies like this is you don't really have to pay attention to them. I put it really smoothly. I'm rearranging the quilt. Okay. So here, when I'm coming up to the seam, let's see if I can show you. I'm going to pull this out. You can see these seams right here. What I want to do is take this seam and push it up against that one. I don't know how well this will show up here. feel my fingers anyway. So I'm just pushing these as tightly together as I can get them. I'm going to grab my pen. Try not to stab myself. That's not too good, but it's butted nicely. I just have my pen in a little bit over place. So I'll just pull this out to the side. There we go. Now I've got the underseam contained, and I can make sure this is all stripped. The other time you might have, like right there, it's because I was running over the seam underneath and the stitches got a little bit smaller. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. I'm sure this is really exciting, but I'm hoping that there'll be a couple things that come up that I can show you or tell you how to deal with. Okay, so here you can see there's a little bubble, or maybe you can. So I'm just going to kind of even that out if I can. I don't want to get a pucker there, but I don't want to unpin the whole thing and have to redo it either. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a little bit to that way. And I'm pulling on my seam right here to hopefully ease this little piece in. I can also kind of tuck it under. Where is one of my favorite tools? I can stick this under there and not get run over by my needle. Okay, this is going to be interesting. This quilt is for Chris. He asked me to make it for her. You can see, you can maybe tell that my machine started making short stitches. I think I got caught on the corner of my sewing table.